a candle that has two wicks. So the first one that I light, it represents, get in the picture. It represents God, Spirit, the all that is. And the second one represents us as community. And when we gather together, we shine a greater light. So that is why we do that, because we are between God and us. We are much more when we are around together. Okay, so John, would you like to start us with a song?
All right, we'll get it up here. Loving Now. Get that out of there. We go. Loving yesterday, loving tomorrow, loving today, loving now, loving awareness, kindness and happiness, peace and goodness, loving now. Loving music, loving singing, loving harmony, loving now, loving awareness, kindness and happiness, peace and goodness, loving now. Loving forgiveness, loving gratefulness, loving creativity, loving as we go, growing in wisdom, being wiser, living better, loving what is good. Loving nature, loving beauty, loving each other, loving now, loving awareness, kindness and happiness, peace and goodness, loving now.
All right, thank you, John. Appreciate that. And so today I'm going to be the speaker, and I'm going to be talking about the law of sensitive dependence of initial conditions. The law of sensitive dependence of initial conditions. And you guys will know what that is. Some of you already probably know what that is, but am I something wrong, Michael?
No, I'm just saying that's what the heck are you going to talk about?
Well, I'll get to it, and you guys
Okay.
will understand. But anyways, we do need to decide who's going to be speaking next week and the week after. We need to decide for June what everybody's going to do, except for Father's Day, which is we know that
Him.
Kim is going to be speaking on that day. So who wants to speak next week? Anybody?
Oh, I'll do it. What the heck?
Okay. All right. Okay. And anybody else? John, I'm not hearing you.
Oh, I said I'll speak any one you want.
Okay. How about you, Caroline? Is there anyone that do you want to do?
25th.
You'll take the what? The 25th?
Mhm.
Okay, perfect. All right. Hey, I got a week. I have a month of where I don't have to speak. That'll be great. So, all right, but that's okay. So, anyways, that's what we'll do. And again, so Michael, you is going to lead the meditation, and John can go ahead and start our meditation and the music and song first, and then we'll go from there.
We are light and awareness, love, caring, and art. True peace and beauty are in the heart. Hear the music, feel it ring, sounds of beauty, free to sing. If we agree together, with a peaceful mind, the future will be better as we are wise and kind. Hear the music, feel it ring, sounds of beauty, free to sing.
All right. Let's now just take a deep breath in. Inhale and exhale. Just be present with the breath as you take another deep breath in. Inhale. And exhale. On the third breath, center in your heart as we take a deep breath in. Inhale. And exhale. Just become still and present. Allow yourself to be not in the head, but in the heart. As you continue your breathing, you just allow yourself now just to settle in. You come from that place of stillness and oneness. Breathing deeply. Letting go. Just allowing right here, right now. Where we recognize this morning that there is only one. Only one life, one activity, one presence, one power. There's only one. And that life, that activity is expressing in and through and as each and every one of us. We are one with that one infinite life. There is only one life. And that life is expressing in and through and as itself through us. Yes. So as I read from today's reading, let its words be your words today. From 365 Days of Daily Living, the reading for today is, I use divine power in practical ways and right action prevails in my affairs. I use divine power in practical ways and right action prevails in all of my affairs. I'll say it again. I use divine power in practical ways and right action prevails in all of my affairs. From Mark 11:24, the verse quoted, it says, what things soever that ye desire when ye pray, believe that ye receive them, and ye shall have them. In Dr. Holmes's commentary, there could be no more explicit technique for effective prayer than this laid down by the Master himself. We actually are to believe that we already possess the object of our desire when we ask for it. We are to accept it even as we believe in the harvest, which follows the spring planting. Therefore, every spring should be one of hope, and every harvest one of fulfillment. We should learn to accept the good that we desire and affirm its presence in our experience right here and right now. So pray with me, please. So realizing that there is a law of good that governs my affairs. Today, I loose every thought of doubt, fear, or uncertainty. I let it go, and I accept the good that I desire here and now. Realizing that this law of good not only knows how to create, but it must also contain within itself all the details of its own creation. I let go of every thought of outlining or trying to say it has to happen a certain way. And I accept the perfect answer today. The feeling a deep sense of gratitude and joy because of this. I live enthusiastically and with calm and happy anticipation of more yet to come. And because there is no sense of strain in this, I relax in a quiet contentment, while at the same time realizing that what the law of good does for me, it must do through me. So I declare that I not only know what to do, but I am impelled to act and to move objectively. For this is not a dream that I'm entering into or an escape from any present situation which is unhappy or unwhole. This is really the act of fulfillment. Movement into a greater sphere of action and life of certainty, calm confidence, and limitless trust. Today, everything in my experience shall be reanimated, reborn, and increased. And gladly I accept my good, and I place no limit on the divine givingness. So recognizing that today, as I continue Dr. Holmes's words, I just now know again, speak the word and continue with the thought of again that we are guided, we are directed. And this thing that we call life, this thing that we call this teaching, the science of mind and spirit, is practical. So we allow ourselves to be guided and directed today. We allow ourselves to think from the unlimited. And we allow ourselves also to speak into existence and to not take no for an answer, because we are one with it. So we just deny anything unlike wholeness, completeness, aliveness. We deny anything that, again, that seems limiting. And today we embrace the good. We embrace the God. We embrace the God that we are. So we speak words today of love, of encouragement, of blessing, of healing, of revealing. And we just give great thanks for each and every person here today, because we are here by divine appointment. We're here to uplift each other. We're here to allow that light as community to shine forth into the world. And so I just now know that, again, that Diana's message is blessed today. And it does its perfect work of, again, of revealing that which is already there within us. I just give great thanks for John and for each and every person here, because, again, that we're here by divine appointment. We're here to be together, not only, again, physically, but again, to feel that united consciousness that we are. And for that, I just give great thanks, because I just now know that this word that I have just said is now acted upon by the great law of life, which only knows to do one thing, and that is to say yes. Yes, yes, yes. And so now I release it now. I let it go, and I let it be. And so it is.
Peaceful, calm, awareness, love, caring, and art. True peace and beauty are in the heart. True understanding is in the heart.
And as you open your eyes, please just take a moment to look into the camera, into your camera, and try to look into each other's eyes and see that magnificence that is us, each and every one of us, inside and out. There's Kyle. Hi, Kyle. All right. Okay. That's so beautiful to see everybody here. Okay, and Hannah's probably still taking care of kitties, but that's okay. So, all right.
John, could you, a technical note, could you try to raise your volume? Your volume's a little low. Okay, you can,
All
just
right.
to let you know. All right, go ahead, Diane.
Okay. Well, anyways, well, thank you, Michael. Thank you, Jonathan, for that beautiful meditation. And I guess I'll just get started on the talk. So like what I was saying, I'm talking about the law of sensitive dependence of initial conditions. And my first reference today is from Mitch Robinson. It's an article from the Penn State Presidential Leadership Academy. And he mentions the sensitive dependence of initial conditions is a small change in a state of deterministic nonlinear system can result in a large difference in a later state. Okay, what am I talking about there? I'm going to make it as simple as I can make it. So what am I talking about? Have you ever cooked pasta noodles and forgot to put the salt in the water? And then you eat that pasta later and you're like, oh God, what's wrong? What did I do wrong? Did I do something wrong with the sauce? Did I do something wrong with, what did I do wrong? Well, if you don't put the salt in the pasta water when you cook it, it makes a huge difference in the outcome of your dish. Now, let's just face it that with the pasta water, this is a very, very simple, very simplistic explanation. But that little thing makes a huge difference in the ultimate result. So that law of sensitive dependence of initial conditions is also known as the butterfly effect. Now, we've talked about that the last couple of weeks about it. It's been mentioned a couple times each week for the last 2 weeks. So I said, I got to just talk about it. So my second reference that I'll be talking from today is from Andy Andrews, and I'll show you this book. I'll find out maybe. I can't get the right place. Here we go. Anyways, the butterfly effect. And so I'll be talking mostly from his stuff, but I also will go back and talk about Mitch Robinson too. So in the butterfly effect, in the author's notes, the author talks about a mentor of his named Jones. When they were talking, he told Andy, with a little perspective, you can live a life of permanent purpose. Now, I probably would have been like, what? What do you mean by permanent purpose? Well, when Andy asked Jones what he meant, the old man answered with a question. You sometimes find yourself unconsciously judging your actions by the level of importance. Do you sometimes find yourself, okay, I'm sorry. Do you sometimes, for instance, the time that you spend with your friends is important, but the time that you spend with your family is more important. You might rank an hour of fishing as very important, or 30 minutes visiting a sick friend in the hospital as more important than the fishing, and a 60-second conversation with the convenience store clerk is not very important at all. So Jones goes on to say, when you know that everything matters, that every move counts as much as any other, you will begin living a life of permanent purpose. A life of permanent purpose will make you a better parent, a better spouse, a more valuable friend. Your productivity and your financial success will soar to new heights. And when the old days of uncertainty and doubt and depression fade into the past. So in 1967, sorry, I'm losing my. Okay, so in 1963, I don't know why I said 7, Edward Lorenz presented this hypothesis. A butterfly could flap its wings and set molecules of air in motion. which would move more molecules of air and moving more molecules of air, eventually capable of starting a hurricane on the other side of the planet. A little tiny butterfly has taken that, can move those molecules of air, and as they move to push from other molecules, and it just keeps it's that effect that it just keeps growing and growing. So for years, Lorentz hypothesis was considered ridiculous. It was the butt of jokes. It was science fiction, comic books, and bad movies. But 30 years later, after that, they found it to be a viable, authentic, and accurate. It became part of chaos theory. That is even what happens in the midst of chaos. There is still what seems to be a little things becomes a greater part of the outcome. So there's always something behind the chaos. And it started with something maybe very small, but it progresses as it goes up. So science has shown that the butterfly effects engage with the first movement of any form of matter, including people. So science has shown the butterfly effects engage with the first movement of any form of matter, including people. So Andy Andrews then goes on to cite examples of how one small move or gesture makes a dramatic difference in how we live today. So he starts off talking about July 2nd of 1863 and Colonel Joshua Lawrence Chamberlain. And this was at the Battle of Gettysburg. He was told that he had to hold the hilltop, because if the hilltop wasn't held, that it just wasn't going to work. So he had started out originally with 1,000 men back a year ago in his troop or in his army. And now going into Gettysburg, they were down to 300 men. So those men, they were able to stave off 3 different attacks from the rebels. And at the 4th one, they weren't sure they were going to be able to stave them off. And by this time, after the 4th attack, they had already taken all the ammunition and the money from the dead or the dying, and from they took everything they could get to have something to go with. And they were now down to like 1 or 2 rounds of ammunition per person. And now they could see that the South has now gotten more troops to come with them. They only had 2 troops, but then they got another group of Texans to join them. So now they have like 400 people. And his little group, only 80. So he wasn't sure exactly what was the best thing to do. But as he realized that, he said, okay, fix bayonets. Fix your bayonets. Okay. And then he told them, execute the great fight wheel, the great bright white wheel, RIGHT wheel, of the entire regiment. Do it now. And when they said it, they said charge. And the rebels had that high, they always had that high screen that, when they were attacking. But when these guys started saying, charge, 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 and they're looking at these rebels who, how in the world could how could the North have so many people that can just now be charging? They must have got extra people too for them, because now they're charging, and they're charging with bayonets, and it just doesn't seem possible that because of that. But it scared the South so much that they started giving up or running away, because it just didn't make sense that now all of a sudden they have all these people they're charging with all this. So anyways, that meant that they ended up winning the battle. Now it looks like from history, they feel that if the North had not won Gettysburg, that the South would have won the war. And that means that the United States would have been totally different than what it is today. It'd probably be more like Europe. There might have been like, a lot of smaller communities or something more like when we first started, the 13 states type deal, but much smaller communities. So Chamberlain, by leading that and making that one small decision to charge, well, it wasn't a small decision, but making that decision, it meant that the U.S., when Hitler and Morimoto decided to are involved with World War II, it meant that the U.S. was strong enough that they could fight both fronts at the same time. If we had been that smaller part of the United States, or that part, or whatever we would have been called by the South, and the smaller things, we wouldn't have had the possibilities that happened with our people to be able to fight two war fronts and to actually succeed and win. So everything you do matters. Every action you make, every action you take matters. So back in anybody that's old like me remembers the evening news with there used to be on ABC, they used to have a thing called the Person of the Week. So the Person of the Week on April 2nd of 2004 was they would always be somebody people knew. It was usually somebody famous, a politician, or a lot of times it was some actor or a director or something. But the Person of the Week was Norman Borlaug. Norman Borlaug. Who is Norman Borlaug? I don't have no idea. Well, that Person of the Week, he did specific seed development that flourished, and it allowed the deserts to be able to make wheat, to be able to grow things, to be able to do things that never used to be able to do. So they calculated that by him doing this, by him getting the seed hybridized, that it saved more than 2 billion lives. Now that was almost 50 years ago. Can you imagine how many more lives it's saved since then? Probably more like 4 or 5 billion. Or the question is, was it Henry Wallace, the vice president of the United States under Franklin Roosevelt? Yes, there are 3 different vice presidents under Roosevelt. He had 4 terms. So Wallace was during 1941 to 1945, and then we had Truman after that. So anyways, he was, before he became the vice president, he'd been the secretary of agriculture. And he's the one who hired Borlaug to make this seed and to work with this seed to create it, to make it better. But then if you think about it, was it Wallace or was it George Washington Carver? George Washington Carver, you're like, and now we're really going back. George Washington Carver, you know, he did the peanuts and the north and the south, the sweet potatoes, and he did all kinds of things to make lots of different improvements with food in general. But when he was young, Henry Wallace would go visit with George Washington Carver, and he would be part of his trips to the different agricultural places and stuff. So that was something that set him into that thinking of food and stuff. But if it wasn't George Washington Carver, maybe it was a farmer from Missouri named Moses. His he had there had been a small family. The mother, there was a slave family, and they were separated, and the one lady and her son, she refused to leave him. She was not going to leave him. So they were taken away by these bandits or whatever. And so Moses later on, he went, as soon as he could, he went after the child and the mother. And he kind of knew the mother was already dead. But he was able to get that child away, who was almost dead himself, but was able to get him back to safety. And he was able to raise him. Well, Moses and Susan Carver, their last name, Moses and Susan Carver, they decided to name him George Washington Carver. So that's how he got his name. But it's just an interesting fact that we could keep going back and back and back from where different things set into different motions. And if those weren't there, what would we be dealing with today? Well, we wouldn't have the peanut. We wouldn't have the sweet potatoes. We wouldn't have these wonderful seeds that can be able to help feed people. I mean, just think about that. So, anyways, as we think about that, I'm going back to Mitch Robinson. And in his little note, he said that he had decided that he needed to do something new with his life. And he wanted to create some new conditions or habits to anchor his new semester in school, or his last semester. And he wanted to make sure that he was going to be successful. So his first one was, well, he wanted to get in shape. So every morning he got up and he did at least 25 push-ups. And then his second thing was he wanted phenomenal personal hygiene. So every time he was at home, even if it was just for a moment, he would brush his teeth. And then for the third one, he wanted to be more grateful. So every day on his whiteboard, he would put down 3 things that he wanted to be, or 3 things that he found to be grateful for. So when he was asked, what is the question to success, 2 questions of success, he said, what non-compromising leader habits or initial conditions can I develop to see success in what I do as a businessman, friend, or other in my life? What will my reference from with this to, what will my reference put in with myself to measure its own growth. It's the small shifts in your the small shifts in your actions, tiny changes in your mindset that can lead to a massive alterations of your end results. So we are important, every one of us, every single one of us. It does not matter. I mean, sometimes you think you're not important. You are important. You are important to the world. You're important to everyone. And so now you need to not only, you just need to realize that every little thing that you do makes a big difference. So it may be 3 little things like Mitch said. You know, he does 25 push-ups a day. He brushes his teeth more often than he ever used to. And then he is adding the putting his 3 things that he was grateful for, just to see that in his mind every day at the beginning of the day, so that his day will go better. So it's the little stuff that creates that butterfly effect in our lives. So please, please, just remember this. You are important. You are important. You are important. You are important. Can I say that another time? You are important. And everything that you do is important. And so even if you don't think it is something, it is. So with that, I am done. And thank you. Thank you for listening to me. Okay. So are there any questions or comments?
Well, that's great inspiration. You've yielded the floor, in other words. Huh? Yeah, that's very important. And I love the idea of thinking of the things that you're grateful for as the beginning of the day each day. That's good. Good start.
Absolutely.
Thank you for that, Diana. That was very, very well done. Very beautiful. Very thought provoking. I do at least a page of gratitudes every morning, and it can be similar. It can be entirely different. I never know ahead of time what's going to be on that page. And at the end of it, I always, my last sentence on the page is always, I give thanks for the gift and the giver. And it has, and I can't remember when I started doing that. And there are many mornings I think, I don't have time. And I'll say, no, you have time to do this. And it has absolutely changed the way I think and changed the way I go through my life, starting with that simple act. And also during the day, I find that the more gratitude I give for what I am doing, what I'm experiencing, even though at times is not the direction I really want to go, but this is where I find myself. But really looking at everything as a gift that has a present in it. So you're just moving in the right direction. And I am wondering if the battle you were talking about was the Battle of Bunker Hill. Because I think that was the one that, wasn't that the one that shifted the outcome?
Is that Bunker Hill in Gettysburg? Because I'm just going by what he said. The author said. He said it was in Gettysburg. So.
And you also mentioned something called the Great White Light Wheel.
The Great Right. The Great Right, RIGHT wheel. And when he was telling, well, we got to do the Great Right wheel, and what it was that was meaning charge. We're going to charge. That was a way of saying charge to his troops. But some of them were a little confused too at first. So that's what that was. Okay. All right.
So I wanted to, when you were saying about, you are important and you matter, I was going to say, well, if what the t-shirt says, if you're not matter, you're energy. No,
Well,
I'm putting some love
sometimes we're in our physical form and sometimes we're more in our energy form. So both
Yeah.
of them matter.
What does
So-
the energy matter?
So anyhow, no, I thought that was wonderful. And for me, it all, for me, it points to oneness. We're all one. And my thinking is, again, if we can start thinking of ourselves as, again, of generators of good out in, you never know, by smiling at the clerk, or asking them about their day, or to just be kind to people, and to give them the benefit of the doubt, that I think that, again, that we start really, again, a tsunami of good by doing that, by being aware that, by being aware, just by being, and then again planting seeds of good in the world. I think that that's a wonderful thing to do, is to, again, and that's, yeah, planting seeds of good. And and again, I was thinking, as you were saying, I think, like our community meeting this morning, you would think, again, that's a small thing, but again, that this community reaches the world. This community reaches the world. This community is a part of that awakening of the planet that's happening. So we do matter. We are important here. Us gathering together weekly and and the things that we do are important, because again, we're here again to allow the planet, again, the planet's going through birth pangs. Society is going through birth pangs. Things are trying to emerge here, and so as we allow ourselves to be there and to be the light, that again, that allows people again to see the light that's in them. So thank you. Great talk.
And I just want to mention something else. As you were talking, I was thinking about a time when I was managing the McDonald's in Hudson, and they had a bad flood, and several people died. In fact, a former employee of mine died in that flood, and so it was a real mess. And I remember this one lady who was a regular who would come in. She was kind of this short, not real nice person whenever she was there. And anyway, so I had taken their order, and I realized afterwards that I needed to give them money back, because it was cheaper for them to get the meal instead of ordering it the way they did. So I was getting their money back, and the lady, she says, "Oh my gosh." She says, "I just can't believe that you are doing this. We have had such a bad, bad week. And the fact that you are taking care of this and doing this and just making sure that we're being taken care of meant so much to her." She was just like, "Oh my gosh." And first off, that's the nicest I've ever seen her. But that was beside the point. But the fact was, it made such a big difference. I was just doing my job. I was just giving her back what I was supposed to get back. But she was so grateful, because that whole week had been bad. Her father, lost everything. Her father was with them, yeah, with her and all this. But, it was just a big mess. So anyway, that we make a big difference. It's simple things that we make a big difference. So, and it may be, and we may not think it's anything on our end that we're doing, but we really are doing something. And sometimes it's just making that person feel special or feel better about themselves, even because they've had such a bad time going on that moment. And again, doing that smile. Okay, so I am done. Thank you.
I have a
John,
question about that. Where was the flood?
it was really pretty much in downtown Hudson. It was all over, it was down 91, that flood, that creek that goes along 91 right near 303. There's a creek back there.
Yeah.
And there was so much water, they had to, I don't know if they purposely let the water out or if there's a little dam there. The dam broke. But either way, I know that the PNC that we would go to right in Hudson there at 303 and 91, there was so much water in the PNC that they had 5 feet of water standing inside the building at one point because they had to call people in, because they had their lock boxes, and they had to come in and empty those and stuff like that, and of course doing everything else. But yeah, it was a big mess.
That's amazing. It sounds like Marietta rather than Hudson.
Yeah, and it was such
river town.
Yeah, it was such a big thing. It was like, my gosh, it's probably been 20 years ago now.
I don't remember that. That's amazing.
So, but anyways, okay, John.
Well, this is going to be the summer of thinking. I think we're already started in today's session. So this is one of my songs from my album called Thought Train. We're going to be riding the Thought Train this summer. Riding down the long track, doing some thinking on this train. Riding down the long track, doing some thinking on this train. It's too late to go back, yet the past is recycling in my brain. What is time but a thought within the mind? As a moment passes, is it any longer real? Where does it go? Is it ever coming back? We do have how what happens makes us feel. The future may be coming, we never know for sure what it will be. The future may be coming, we never know for sure what it will be. If we lay our plans like train track, we've got a point of view from which to see. What is time without location and a point, a place to be? When and where come together in a meeting shared by you and me. Images and feelings are a part of everything we do or say. Think a thought, feel a feeling, ponder when and wonder what we made.
time, but a series of presents, thoughts, acts, flies, and memories happening somehow. Soon, when, day, then, yesterday, tomorrow, gifts of the moment occurring in the now. So ride in the present, don't miss the scenery on the way. Ride in the present, don't miss the scenery on the way. The past and the future can improve by what we do today.
All right. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. So that's beautiful. So at this, it's that time where we give the opportunity to give. So you can, there's a couple ways you can give. You can go to Zelle, and when you go to Zelle, you would put in sscofakron@gmail.com. That's sscofakron@gmail.com. And you can give through Zelle that way. Or you can send a check to 1199 Lexington Avenue, Akron, Ohio, 44310. Just make sure it says Summit Center, Summit Spiritual Center, Summit, as long as it says Summit Center or something to that effect, then we're good.
To sum it all up.
To sum it all up. All right. Thank you. All right. So with that, I just give thanks. I give thanks for all that give, whether it's time, talent, or treasure, or all three. I'm just grateful and thankful for each and every person being a part of our community and helping to share in taking care of this community. And knowing that as we gather together, that we are important to not only each other, but to our lives and to the world. So with that, I just give thanks again. And so it is. So it is. All right. How about good more good time?
Good more good is mine, and ever increasing good is mine. Unlimited, infinite good is mine. Wherever I go, I sing good. Whatever I do, I feel oh so good. I'm worthy and entitled to good and more good. It crowds itself upon us, wraps itself around us. We give ourselves permission to accept more good, express more good. Oh, good, more good is ours, and ever increasing good is ours. Thank you, Spirit, and so it is.
All right. Thank you. And so it's that time for quick announcements. And
Yes, quick and yeah. So Hannah and I, we need to get together with Reverend Robert this week to try to figure out some of the technical stuff. So I'll get with you about that. I talked to Diana E. She's down there with Sean, and we talked this week about having a gathering around the summer solstice. So we're still trying to figure out a location on where to do that. So it'll be a lot like Christmas, or a lot like Yule, in which we'll do some
Except for the
ritual.
temperature.
We'll eat some food and sing some songs and have a good time. So we will let you know the date. Diana and I are working on a location. So we'll hopefully by next week we'll let you know. But it's I miss seeing y'all and miss getting a hug. And so I think this is a good time to to gather as we start the summer. So yeah, so we'll that's coming up. So Diana and we will let you know hopefully by next Sunday. And then if you, after we're off Facebook, and then I need to talk to you about something. Okay. Thank you.
Any other announcements?
Just visit yeswise.com and learn more. I've got courses and blog and other information.
All right. Okay, and I'm just, if there's not any other announcements, then we're going to do our moment of silence. And I'm going to ring us in, and I guess I got to turn on my sound to, okay. All right, so when I bring us in, then just taking a moment to think of whoever may need some extra healing. And hey, my little great nephew, the one that was in the NICU, he's home. He was supposed to get in there for 10 to 12 weeks, and he got home in 7. So that's good. So, all right. So anyways, just as you know that, just put them in there, and just know for that perfect power and presence and wholeness and completeness and perfection for each and every one. The light of God surrounds us, the love of God enfolds us, the power of God protects us, the presence of God watches over us wherever we are. God is, and all is well.
We are the people of love. We are the people of love. Sing out, people, sing out love. We are the people of love. We are the people of peace. We are the people of peace. Sing out, people, sing out peace. We are the people of peace. We are the people of joy. We are the people of joy. Sing out, people, sing out joy. We are the people of joy. We are the people of love. We are the people of love. Sing out, people, sing out love. We are the people of love. We are the people of love.
All right. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And Hannah, you can stop our Facebook feed. And I have to go to work today, so I'm going to turn this over to Michael.